There's a moment every man faces when you wonder if you're enough. You buy the gifts, you send the good morning texts, you do the little things they said women want, and still she feels distant. Still, she seems unfulfilled. Still, you're left asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? It's not that you're not trying. It's that your energy, your spirit, your frame is not being felt. You see, women don't just pour water, don't just give of themselves because of what you buy them or how often you text them. A woman pours when she feels safe, when she senses your strength, when she trusts that your presence is not just flesh but soul. Young man, the truth is this, you can't fake it. You can't pretend to be whole when inside you're crumbling. You can't expect a woman to open up if you, yourself, are closed off. What makes her pour water is not your money, your status, or your style. It is the silent confidence of a man who knows himself, respects himself, and moves with purpose. So if you've been chasing her validation, stop. If you've been measuring your worth by her reactions, pause. This message is for you. Because the moment you begin to pour into yourself, deeply, honestly, fully, is the moment she, too, will pour back into you. When I say, become her safe place, I do not mean become her doormat. Too many men confuse safety with servitude. They think that giving her everything she asks for, saying yes to every demand, and bending until they break will make her feel secure. But the truth is that only makes her lose respect. A woman pours water. She opens up. She invests. She gives. When she feels she can rest in your presence. Rest doesn't mean comfort alone. Rest means she doesn't have to fight battles inside her own home. Rest means she knows you are steady when life is shaky. Rest means your word carries weight, not just because you speak it, but because you live it. And here's the reality: women are emotional by nature. Their hearts will sometimes overflow with fear, with doubt, with anger, with joy. They need a man who doesn't crumble under the waves, a man who doesn't absorb her chaos and then explode, but instead grounds her with strength. Safety for her is knowing you are not a man of reaction, but a man of response. But let me make this clear. You do not create safety by silencing yourself. You do not create safety by abandoning your own needs just to keep her happy. That is not strength. That is weakness dressed as love. True safety is balance. It is showing her that she can cry without judgment, speak without fear, and lean without worrying that you will collapse. And at the same time, it is showing her that you will not compromise your values, your mission, or your identity just to please her. Think of it like this. A tree provides shade, shelter, and comfort, but it remains rooted. It doesn't uproot itself every time the wind blows. In the same way, you must remain rooted in your masculinity, your principles, your boundaries. Only then can she feel safe enough to pour water into you. So ask yourself today, does she see you as her safe place, or just a place to escape until something stronger comes along? If you want her to pour, you must become that unshakable ground where her spirit can finally rest without ever losing the power that makes you a man. Too many men chase romance, thinking that flowers, fancy dinners, and compliments are the keys to a woman's heart. And yes, those things can feel nice in the moment, but they do not create lasting connection. Because what a woman truly remembers, what she truly responds to, is respect. Respect is louder than romance because respect communicates value. It communicates that you see her as a human being, not a trophy or a placeholder. When a woman feels respected, she feels safe. She feels that her thoughts, her emotions, and her boundaries matter. And when that happens, she can finally pour water into you. But respect isn't given just by saying polite words. It's shown in how you act when she disagrees with you. It's shown when you uphold your principles, even if she's frustrated. It's shown when you communicate honestly, even when honesty might create tension. A woman doesn't respect a man who folds under pressure or who changes who he is to gain approval. She respects a man who knows his worth and carries it consistently. Here's the truth. Women are attracted to emotional integrity. They can feel it in the way you speak, in the way you listen, in the way you handle conflict. They notice if you respect their time, their space, and their feelings. And when they see that respect consistently, they relax. They start to trust you. And trust is what makes a woman open up, share her heart, and, yes, pour into you in ways that romance alone could never achieve. Respect also works both ways. You cannot demand respect without giving it. You cannot expect her to honor your boundaries if you are dismissive of hers. High value men understand that respect is a currency of the soul. It cannot be bought with gifts. It cannot be faked with words. It must be lived every single day in every small interaction. So today, stop chasing the idea of romantic perfection. Stop thinking that gestures alone will make her love you more. Focus instead on how you can truly respect her, how you can show her that your love is not just fleeting or superficial, but rooted in recognition, integrity, and honor. When you do this, you create the fertile ground where she can pour into you freely and willingly. A lot of men get caught up in trying to impress women with the wrong things: money, appearances, attention, or empty gestures. But here's the truth: a woman will never fully pour into a man who has no mission, no direction, no purpose. Pleasure without purpose is like a river without a current. It may look pretty on the surface, but it has no depth, no power, and it cannot sustain life. Women are wired to sense the difference between a man who is chasing life and a man who is chasing comfort. They can feel it in your energy, your presence, your priorities. A man without purpose is reactive. He bends with the wind. He is easy to sway, easy to drain, and easy to forget. But a man with purpose, he is rooted, grounded, and intentional. He doesn't just exist. He moves with direction, and that movement creates attraction, admiration, and emotional investment. Purpose doesn't mean a flashy career or an expensive lifestyle. Purpose is about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. It's about carrying a vision for your life that is bigger than momentary pleasures or temporary validation. When you prioritize purpose, you are sending a clear signal. You value your life, and you value the women who choose to be a part of it. And here's the beautiful part: when you are purpose-driven, a woman doesn't feel the need to pull from you to feel fulfilled. Instead, she feels inspired to pour into the man who is moving towards something greater. She feels safe knowing that your focus isn't scattered on fleeting desires, but anchored in something real, something meaningful. High-value men understand that purpose creates a magnetic energy that pleasure alone cannot. Fun, intimacy, romance, they all matter. But they are the flowers on the tree of your life, not the roots. The roots are your purpose, your discipline, and your relentless pursuit of growth. Without those roots, the flowers will wilt, and so will her willingness to invest emotionally. So today, ask yourself, are you building a life that excites you first? Are you moving toward your goals, your mission, your vision? Because when you do, you'll stop chasing her attention, and instead, you'll attract a woman who sees your direction, respects your ambition, and willingly pours into the man who knows his path. There's a myth that men must be unshakable, untouchable, and impervious to emotion. That showing struggle, fear, or pain is weakness. I'm here to tell you that's a lie that keeps too many men lonely, frustrated, and emotionally stuck. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the bridge that allows a woman to connect with the real you. Think about it. When a woman sees a man who hides behind walls, who never shares his feelings, who never admits when he's afraid or uncertain, she senses distance. She can't pour into a man she doesn't truly know. She can't connect with a man who pretends everything is fine while inside he's crumbling. Authenticity requires courage, and vulnerability is the ultimate expression of that courage. Being vulnerable doesn't mean oversharing every thought, dumping emotional chaos onto her shoulders, or letting your insecurities dominate the relationship. It means being honest about who you are, what you feel, and what you're working on. It means saying, I don't have all the answers, or I've struggled with this, and I'm trying to grow. It means allowing her to see your humanity without letting it diminish your strength. Here's the paradox. When a man opens up in a controlled, confident way, he does not become weak. He becomes magnetic. Women feel that energy. They feel trust. They feel that he is secure enough in himself to handle the full spectrum of life, and that security invites them to pour their hearts freely. Vulnerability, done with integrity, communicates strength in a way nothing else can. But remember, this vulnerability must be balanced with boundaries. You cannot share indiscriminately. You cannot expect her to fix what you've neglected to manage in yourself. High-value men understand that vulnerability is a tool for connection, not a crutch for validation. It's the honesty that creates intimacy, not dependency. So if you've been hiding who you are, afraid to show your struggles, afraid to risk rejection, start small. Share a truth. Admit a fear. Express a dream. And watch how a woman responds when she finally sees you, not the mask you've been wearing. The moment you embrace vulnerability, you create space for her to pour into your life. And for the first time, that pouring feels natural, not forced. Too many men think that to win a woman's heart, they have to perform. They plan grand gestures, orchestrate experiences, and measure their value by the applause she gives. But here's the truth: a woman doesn't need a show. She needs a man who is truly present. Presence is not about being physically there. It's about being mentally, emotionally, and spiritually engaged. You can sit across from her at dinner, but if your mind is scrolling through your phone, replaying past fights, or worrying about the future, you are absent. And when you are absent, she feels it. She feels unseen. She feels unvalued, and no amount of performance will replace the gap your absence creates. Being present means listening, not just hearing, but really listening. It means absorbing what she says, noticing what she doesn't say, and responding from a place of care, curiosity, and understanding. It means holding space for her emotions without judgment, without interruption, and without turning the conversation back to you. Presence is the quiet, steady energy that communicates. I am here. You matter. You are not alone. Performance, on the other hand, is exhausting. It creates a false version of connection, one based on superficial reactions rather than real intimacy. Women can sense when you are performing. They can smell the effort, the insecurity, the underlying "I hope this works" energy. Presence, however, is magnetic because it is effortless. It is grounded. It allows her to relax, to open up, and to pour water into the man who does not need her approval to exist. Here's the reality: the simplest gestures, when executed with full presence, outweigh the most elaborate performances. A conversation that lingers without distractions. A hand on her back during a moment of vulnerability. Eye contact that says, "I see you fully." These small moments create trust, deepen intimacy, and show her that you are reliable, not just for grand gestures, but for the everyday reality of being human together. So today, stop trying to impress. Stop worrying about the perfect date, the perfect gift, the perfect line. Focus on being fully there. Bring your attention, your energy, and your care into every interaction. Because the man who masters presence over performance is the man a woman will naturally pour into. The man who becomes her safe harbor, her steady ground, and the one she can trust with her heart. This is where so many men get it wrong. They look for a woman to complete them, to validate them, to fill the empty spaces they refuse to face in themselves. And when she doesn't, they get frustrated, confused, or bitter. The truth is simple. You cannot expect her to pour into you if you are dry. You cannot expect her to nourish a life that you haven't taken the time to grow, strengthen, and cultivate yourself. Pouring into yourself first is not selfish. It is essential. It means investing in your physical health, your mental clarity, your emotional intelligence, and your personal growth. It means pursuing your goals, facing your fears, and becoming a man who is secure, confident, and whole on his own. When you do this, you no longer live in a state of neediness or desperation. You live in a state of abundance, and abundance is magnetic. A woman senses when a man is whole versus when he is incomplete. She can feel the energy of a man who is chasing validation versus the energy of a man who is building a life he values. She will pour her heart, her trust, and her care into the latter because she sees a man capable of receiving it without losing himself. She sees a man who can hold space for her without crumbling. A man whose confidence is steady enough to support intimacy without dependency. Pouring into yourself also means understanding your emotional boundaries. It means processing your past hurts, confronting your insecurities, and learning to manage your emotions without offloading them onto her. It means developing hobbies, skills, and passions that fulfill you outside of a relationship. When you do this, you create a life that is rich, purposeful, and resilient. Here's the reality: the man who masters self-investment does not need to chase a woman. He attracts her naturally. She wants to pour into him because he has already poured into himself. She wants to share in his growth, celebrate his victories, and contribute to a life that is already thriving. So start today. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, Am I building the man she would want to pour into? Because when you are whole, confident, and purposeful, the woman you desire will not just be drawn to you. She will willingly open her heart and pour water into your life in ways that feel effortless, natural, and deeply fulfilling.